Hey guys, Civilian Soldier 762 here. Today I just wanted to show you this is my Wasr 1063, and I wanted to show you guys how just a few relatively inexpensive upgrades, some elbow grease, and change a few things cosmetically, you can make a Wasr from I mean what looks like a military surplus rifle, not a new gun. Even though when you get them, technically they're new guns, but they just don't look like what American shooter would expect from a new gun when you bring it home, open the packaging. But you can make your rifle pretty decent looking without spending a whole lot of money, and function a lot better, in my opinion. So first off, the first thing I did, I put this whole grip on the rifle, and that really makes a big difference. It's got a little bit of dimpling in there. You got the finger grooves. It's got a lot fatter profile too than the standard AK grip, and the ones that come on the Wasr, they're even thinner than a regular AK grip. I guess there's something Sentry makes in-house, and I got big hands, and they did not feel good at all in my hand. Then the next thing I did is I got this stock from Arsenal, which I wish I would have got the NATO length. I was just looking at the pictures, and I thought the NATO length one looked a little long, so I got the Warsaw, which this Wasr here didn't come with wood furniture, so I didn't really realize how short the Warsaw length stocks were. And I'd like at least another inch would make it a little bit better, but so this works for now. Eventually I'll order the NATO length stock, but I got this stock from the bargain bin on KVAR for I think $25, $20, something like that. It wasn't very much at all, considering the stock alone I think usually runs around $60, and a stock set, which is just the pistol grip stock and front handguard, is $106. And the reason this stock is so cheap, not because there's anything functionally wrong with it, it just has see that little scratch right there? That's it. I mean, like that really matters. That's not a big deal to me. Some people it might be. To me, that's 60% savings at least, maybe more. That's worth it to me. This front handguard here I got from KVAR, also in the bargain section. What it looks at, it's identical to the handguards KVAR sells, but this is actually a Bulgarian takeoff. They sell Russian ones too that are plum, and they're really good. They're hard, solid handguards. They got the heat shield in them. This thing, I mean, it's super hard. I don't think I've never had a problem with. Some people say the Arsenal handguards melt, but I've never had that problem. This thing's rock solid. It's a good handguard, and I paid, I believe, $11 for that. So I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. And I think that stock set on here and handguard make this rifle look amazing. So as far as cosmetic, that's about all the cosmetic things I did, except for a paint job, because these Wasrs, they come Parkerized, and I mean, to me, I don't really care much for Parkerized look, and it doesn't last very long. It scratches really easy, and it just looked like crap. I mean, I've seen some Wasrs that look great. Like my buddy bought one from the same place probably a couple months after me, and his was immaculate. It looked amazing. I would have left it alone the way his looked, but mine just looked like crap. It had been banged around. The Parkerizing was scratched. It just didn't look very good. So what I did, I used a high temperature engine paint in flat black. At first I put the whole gun, stripped it all down just to the receiver and barrel. Took all the parts off. Put any of the metal parts that I was painting in the oven. Heated it for maybe 20 minutes. Took them out. Let them get cool enough just to touch where they're still hot. Painted them with the flat black engine enamel. Let it dry outside in the heat in my garage for 45 minutes or an hour. And then I went over it with a semi-gloss, just regular Rust-Oleum or Krylon or something, and just kind of lightly just went over it, dusted it, and and then baked it in the oven on 350 for about 3 hours. And in here, and just the regular incandescent lighting doesn't do it justice. It looks kind of shiny, which it's not if you see it outside in the sunlight. I mean, it really came out nice. It looks a million times better than that grayish parkerized look that was on the rifle. But I mean, to me, this is just a whole different rifle than the Wasr you would grab at the gun store and bring home. It doesn't even resemble that. And I didn't have to spend a whole lot of money to get it this way. Like these tech sites, like I was saying, these are probably the best feature I've put on this rifle. These, whether you want your rifle to look cosmetically nice or not, I would suggest these for any AK operator. They really help with acquiring a fast sight picture. For me, the leaf sight on the AK, it just the thin little slit, and then you have such a fat front sight post. It's just a little stubby fat sight post. It's just really hard to acquire your targets fast and to get a good sight picture. With these tech sights, it gives you the A2, just a regular aperture sight, and it's got there's two different styles. This one has the dual flip aperture, and it's got a windage adjustment on it. The other style has a single aperture, but it also has windage and elevation. The reason I went with this is because you can put any standard AR M4 style aperture in there. I wanted one to be able to have a bigger hole just for quick shooting, and then a smaller hole for more accurate shooting. And it's not a big deal. If I need to adjust the elevation, I can just do it on the front sight. And then let's see here, these Circle 10 mags. These are just amazing mags. They the way they're built, they have metal reinforcements all in them. This is all metal cage all here underneath the plastic. This front, the locking tabs on the front and rear are metal, and then it's got a reinforced metal strap that goes all the way down the spine of the magazine also, and at the base where your floor plate sits on, there's metal tabs there too. They're just really solid, really good polymer mags. I've never owned a mag on any gun that compares to these Circle 10s. They're well worth the money. If you're using your rifle for a shit hits the fan weapon or something like that, you want a reliable magazine. Some of the other polymer ones, they're okay, if you want to just go to the range and shoot. What I would stay away from is Pro Mag. I would not use a Pro Mag to save my life, not even at the range. They're just junk, but that's my opinion. Everyone works hard for their money and has a right to choose what they want in their own gun. But Circle 10 is the only way to go, I feel. And if you don't want to spend the price on these, the next best bet would probably be like your Circle 10 Bulgarian, just regular standard issue mags that aren't the waffle pattern. You can pick them up for around $20, maybe even cheaper. And they actually just started making them now. KVAR has them, and they actually have the whole metal cage in them too, which is nice for the $20, which, it's about probably $10-15 cheaper than these. Depending, you can get these with a U.S. floor plate and a U.S. follower, or you can get it with, all Bulgarian parts, I believe, or you can get it with just one or the other. There's several different variations they sell, and it makes the price, just a couple dollars different. I personally would just go with, whatever U.S. parts they can put on them, so that way it gives you more compliance parts. But, that's about everything I did to this rifle to make it look a little better on the outside. As far as function, the Tapco trigger group that comes in these, the way the hammer's shaped, it's like an octagon almost, like a stop sign is the way it looks. And your bolt rides on that really bad, and Wasrs have a tendency of hanging up. So this is something I wouldn't recommend you do unless you really know what you're doing, and you check your measurements and everything to where your sear will engage every time and your trigger hooks will engage when you let off. But I profiled my hammer and polished it where the bolt rod's much smoother, and now it's just like butter. The action is smoother on this rifle than it is on my Polish underfuller, which is a really good built rifle. No hang up. Even if I ride the bolt, it goes smooth. And then this here, like, I wanted the option to be able to run a flashlight or something like that in case I, do use this rifle for a shit hits the fan weapon. And I can't stand the big, chunky quad rails on AKs. They just look terrible in my opinion. The only one that's even worth a damn, I think, is probably the Midwest Industries. And I mean, they're just not for me. They're ugly. If I was gonna do some sort of rail at all on the front, I would do an Ultimac gas tube, and then maybe like I guess you'd have to go with the Ultimac lower tri-rail that goes with it, but they're just not for me. I would consider the Ultimac gas tube just to be able to run an optic. Those are nice. But I went with this just because then you don't have to have that huge, just ugly, heavy, clunky quad rail on there. This is just a UTG. I think it's a 3 slot tri-rail, and it was like $10 from Cheaper Than Dirt. But this is it. This is the Wasr 1063. One thing I did want to show you guys with these tech sights, I already undid it because doing it with one hand is nearly impossible. It does make it a little bit harder to take down. It's not impossible or just such a struggle that it's not worth it, but it's not just as easy as pushing on the button on your recoil spring or whatever and popping the dust cover off. It's got these two, see, I've already undone them. It's got two little spring loaded like detents or pins, and they hold the dust cover on right there, and you gotta push them in with something. Like you can use a bullet or a key or anything really. Your finger doesn't really work good enough to do it, but any solid enough object. And then it just hinges up like this, and you can slide it forward. And with these, you actually replace the back portion of your, I forget what you even call it. I guess it'd be like it's not really a guide rod, I don't know what you would call it. And then inside part of your recoil spring, like this, there's two different styles. This one's like a figure 8 style is the way it looks, but the back is actually affixed to the base of the tech sight. So you replace this. So if you do order tech sights, you want to make sure that you get the right kind for the right kind of recoil spring you have. And also they sell a type for a Yugo and the type for the standard Romanian, Polish, just the regular length dust cover, regular size dust cover. And that's the tech sights.